Hey everybody, Dave here from Days of Glory Shopworks. Was getting ready to put a few things back on my car, and I remembered that back when I first put this on the road, it was fuel injected, stock 5.9 liter V8 Magnum Dodge fuel injection system from a 98 Ram, and I ran the fuel pressure regulator into my stock Dodge Dart fuel tank, as well as fuel pressure or fuel connector to run to my fuel pump, and I mounted my fuel pump in the tank so I'd have a nice clean install, yada yada yada. It's worked out pretty good. Fuel pump did quit on me after about 5 years, but it was an easy change. Drop the tank, pull my access panel off, and then swap the pump out with a replacement one, put it all back together. But what I noticed at that point in time, and I didn't have the right piece of hose for it. The hose I run from my fuel pressure, from my fuel pump to my fuel pressure regulator, it's just standard, like it's high pressure. It'll handle 300 psi or whatever, which is well more than this system will ever generate. But it's not submersible in gasoline. So when I first pulled this apart, and I want to say it was about 5 years ago or so that I did that, the fuel line was blown up like a balloon. It was sketchy as hell. So anyway, long story short, I'd left it out for a couple days while I got the new pump, and when I went to put it back in, it had actually shrunk back down to size, and I'm like, well, I don't have the new one. It's going to take a little while to order in the specialty hose, so okay, fine. I put it all back together and ran it for like another 5 years like that. So anyway, long story short, I'd ordered up the hose about a month after doing the pump. I finally found the right quality one that I wanted. And it's nothing fancy. It looks like just regular 3/8 fuel line, but it's high pressure and submersible in fuel. So anyway, 5 years later, my car is painted again, and I am getting ready to reassemble a bunch of things, and I said now's the time to actually finally repair that. I've only got that much fuel in the tank, easy to handle right now. I'd already had the fuel filler neck removed for painting purposes, and it was literally minutes to drop this thing out. This is a 67 Dart. They run only one strap around from side to side, not front to back, and frankly understand why they went front to back. This thing, even with my padding in place, it'll still kind of rock a little bit back and forth, and I might adjust that some more when I go to put it back in, but for now I know it has never fallen out. So anyway, long story short, we're going to plop this thing out, see if maybe you'll get an idea what I'm talking about, and we'll repair it. I might not be able to put it back together because this seal that I used appears to be seeping a little bit, and so I might have to do some cleanup and get a new gasket material for it. But we'll see. This was actually super simple to do too. And if anybody wants to not run a fuel pump on the side of the frame, drilling holes in their framework and mounting it and all that jazz, and getting the noise, my main deal was I always hated the sound of an electric fuel pump just going bzzz, you know, on the side of the frame. So even if you rubber mount them, they're still noisy. So hence this thing, when it's running, man, all you hear is just a light little hum out of the tank, just like on a brand new vehicle. So yeah. Oh, look at that. I used a different I must have been short on screws. I used a Torx head there. And for any occupational health and safety people, I do have the man door wide open in the garage. There's very little fumes coming off of it. But I also don't like passing out either. So we're safe. inside here. There's my fuel pump. I mounted, I just ran a couple of spot welds on that clamp to hold it in. It's wired, positive and negative. Of course, I used red wires, all I had, but you see this thinner line right here runs to a thicker line, runs down to the tank. I had to make it thinner because the end off of the fuel pump regulator is only tiny. It's like 1/4 inch or 3/16 or whatever. I think it's 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch. So it's literally an adapter hose, but it is soft. Doesn't feel good at all. Anyway, there's my fuel pickup tube, which is a 3/8, and you also notice that, oh, that's interesting. That should not be up there. That should be pushed down into the fuel. Talk about running out of gas too early, huh? Anyway, everything else pretty clean. Like I said, a little bit of debris. I think some of that's just from opening this thing up. But I like it. It's worked for me for years, and I have yet to have a fuel supply issue. And I also have yet to have a long time cranking to start the thing in the springtime when it's time to get going. So it makes me happy, and I feel pretty cool that I kind of rigged it all up myself and didn't blow myself up in the process. Yeah, this stuff was about, I don't know, $2 a foot, maybe $3, $18 for 1 foot piece. But there is a difference, so yeah, and this stuff's good for 100 psi, which is well over what that pump will produce, and it's submersible as well. 3/8 fuel line, 100 psi. Good to go. There we go, one fixed hose. And cool part about this, I don't actually have to run a fuel filter to my engine. This is fuel pressure regulator, fuel filter, all in one. Lifetime service, which, trust me, I understand lifetime service isn't necessarily lifetime service, but in 15 years it hasn't clogged up on me yet or given me any pause for thought. So I'm gonna keep rolling with it, and then just pop it out and pop in a new one when time comes. All right, so as some of you know, the car I run is carbureted. Don't need the EFI system anymore, but it was nice, clean, simple install. You've got quick connects on it. It's great. I left it there. So I took my fuel level unit and pickup tube, turned that into a return line right in front of the fuel tank. Above the differential, I have my fuel pressure regulator to dumb it down to carburetor. So literally, regulated 45 psi comes out of here, filtered, goes into the fuel pressure regulator, bypasses down to, I've got it set around 6.5, 7 psi, and that's it. Literally, super simple. It's been working for years. I'm going to continue to make it work for me until it craps out some other way. So for now, I'm just going to clean up the edge of this a little bit and run some seal all on it, and tighten her down, and I'm going to be happy and done. too old. Yeah, usually this stuff runs out. Dang it. I might. Yeah, this will work really nicely. Stinks, but it's really, really good stuff. Aviation foam gasket. A little messier than I like, but you just literally lightly brush on a thin film of it, and this stuff will. It's good against gasoline and any kind of oils and petroleum products. So just got a bit of a head to the scent of it as well. Well, there you have it, guys. I really think this is a fuel system mod that anybody can do on their tank without any major issues. You could buy the full fancy ones that are offered through the aftermarket companies. Absolutely, 100%. You know, it's done right, and it's going to meet all the specs that you need. But for the do-it-yourselfer at home, I think this modification actually took me a whopping 3 hours start to finish, and that was cutting the hole, making a new cover plate, making a trim ring. I used the hole as a template anyway, and welding it in place. I basically screwed it all together nice and tight so there was no seams, and then I welded it all the way around, spot welded it. The tank was clean and empty, of course, beforehand, and well ventilated. Then I took the clamp that came with the fuel pump, the one that would normally mount it on the frame externally, and I did check the pump is submersible or not. I checked all that out, of course. But anyway, I welded the clamp to the bottom, and then I used some seal all around anywhere as I'd welded just to make sure. And then it was just hoses and some adapters and plumbing, wiring, figuring out your own bulkheads. There's plenty of other styles. At the time I was working for a dealership, so these things were being thrown in the garbage left, right, and center. This was new, of course. This I just harvested from an old fuel pump. And same thing with the wire connectors and such. So anyway, it's a pretty basic system, and if you're running an EFI, that'll supply most basic EFI systems out there with longevity in mind as well. It's a Walbro style pump, like the log style, nice and quiet running. They got a hum to them instead of a big vibrating noise that vibrates right through your vehicle and you can't hear anything while you're trying to fire it up. But well, I hope you liked it. Next step for me is I just got to clean that up a little bit, throw some paint on it, and I can stuff it back in the car. That's a happy little project for me, and what did it take, 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe? Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll keep on trucking with the videos.